In India today, people don't have time for cynicism. They want a vision. You can't run elections on trying to divide people by saying jitni abadi utna haq, caste censuses, handouts, and then do the exact opposite, especially when you talk about women's reservation by giving hardly any tickets to women. So it's all optics, it's all packaging, it's all symbolism. And then you go around talking about, panotis and modanis and all sorts of people. People want to know, what can you do when you're in power? Was that message lacking? If these numbers hold, would that be a conclusion to draw?
Good evening, Rahul. Very interesting, and good evening, first of all, to my fellow panelists. I have two brief points to make, and both of them, I dare say, emanate from the poll of polls. You would remember, Rahul, back in our school days, the class, majority of the students in the class would be like me and Dr. Raman, twitchy little nerds. But there would be a few exceptions like you and Tehseen, who would party all night and who would get all the XX, and who would score well in the exams. You guys were the outliers. And what happened was you ruined the reputation of the entire class. So like that, the poll of polls was going very well. Everything was neck and neck. Suddenly these two guys come along that give massive majority to BJP. And as a result, the poll of polls is now skewed. So it's like, one-sided thing now. Be that as it may, I want to stick to, what you said about Modi having made it as mere dam pe sab hua, like, he beat his chest also in the parliament, ek akela. And to a very large extent, actually on the ground, it's proven, at least the data shows it to be very true, because, in all the BJP ruled states, whenever Mr. Modi and Mr. Shah have gone for campaigning, they've always talked about this phrase. You would know this and everyone knows it. Amit also would know this, double engine sarkar. This phrase comes in their speeches at least 10 to 12 times. In MP, when they were canvassing, somehow this phrase was conspicuous by its absence. And the reason for that is, if you look at if BJP is going to, win MP, and there's a very good chance that it is, despite the skewing of the poll of polls, it's going to win because the Modi engine has pulled not only the train, but also the kind of laggard, almost defunct Shivraj Mamaji engine at the back of the train. And if you look at the data, 80 million population of Madhya Pradesh, an astonishing 25 million are now Ayushman Bharat card holders. You talk about 2% women voters, an astonishing 8 million now have Ujjwala. An astonishing 8 million toilets have been made in Madhya Pradesh, one of the largest in the whole country. You talk of COVID. It's astonishing 6 crore MP Madhya Pradeshians were vaccinated before any other state. 100% vaccination of Madhya Pradesh. You look at the ration that was given free during the COVID, and it was Pradhan Mantri who said, I'm going to extend free ration for another 5 years. So it is that Modi engine that is pulling BJP in Madhya Pradesh. There is no two bones about it. Now let me very quickly come to Telangana. And here what Tehseen says, I'm afraid I disagree. Because let's be very honest, in India, largely elections are won on populism and freebies. If you look at Telangana, it holds the crown of populism and freebies. The state is right now under debt of 6 lakh crores. That is, every Telanganan resident has a debt of 1.7 lakhs. It is astonishing when you talk about blaming Kejriwal and Punjab at debt of 2.5 lakh crores. Telangana is almost, 2.5 times that. Now, the question is, are the freebies and the tremendous welfareism done by the BRS, is it going to pull BRS? If it does, then that is normalcy. If it doesn't, we really have to go back to the drawing board and see what has happened. The Indian voters, is he finally ready to look beyond the freebie culture? That is the 2 points that I'd like to make.
Well, I mean, that depends on how you define a freebie. As you know, Dr. Ranganathan, the fisc is also stretched at the center because there are quite a few schemes that are doled out, and some of them could easily pass off for a freebie. And we've done that sort of assessment here ourselves, in fact, on a show. I think perhaps it was a few days back. But I want to bring you in, Dr. Raman. Let's talk about issues here. In case these numbers hold, you have a problem, a serious problem, and it's a Modi-sized problem, so it's not easy to fill if you're the opposition. You have nobody to challenge Mr. Modi. Mr. Modi asks for votes in his name. seemingly, if you go by the exit polls in the Hindi heartland where the BJP stands like an apex, T-Rex predator, it's going to be consolidating. You've got a problem. The opposition must ask itself, cynical caste card, pulling it out of your top pocket, suddenly flashing it like a bribe to a voter. That's politics, 1.0. We saw that a few decades back.
Yeah.
And where are those parties today? That Mandal party, that whole brigade, you tell me. Where are they today?
Okay. Rahul, first of all, I would advise waiting till the results are out, because the reason I say that is another channel is actually debating about the composition of the Shivraj Singh Chauhan ministry and whether the MPs who win the election will be accommodated.
No, that's why we have sensible people like you, Dr. Anand Ranganathan, Dr. Raman on our channel.
Okay.
I didn't call those people.
Let me just get to the cut to the chase. If Congress loses Madhya Pradesh, irrespective of what happens in Rajasthan, because Rajasthan is a 5-year rotation government, so irrespective of what happens in Rajasthan, if the Congress loses Madhya Pradesh, it will be a setback. There is no doubt about it. Chhattisgarh and Telangana at this point look like a done deal for the Congress. So if they do win Madhya Pradesh and it is 3-1, then I see that as pretty significant, because they are adding a important southern state in Telangana. They are swapping, for all practical purposes, Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh, which means that they are not actually down in terms of numbers, and they would actually be up if they are retaining Chhattisgarh as well. So I would view which way Madhya Pradesh goes, assuming that the BJP wins Rajasthan, and that again is by no means a certainty, because you have the same outlier poll in Madhya Pradesh predicting being an outlier poll in Rajasthan on the other way, predicting a win for the Congress. So if the Congress holds Rajasthan, and that would be a phenomenal achievement. We don't know if that will happen. I'm not terribly sure that will happen. But Madhya Pradesh is really, to me, going to be the key. If the BJP wins Madhya Pradesh big, I don't think that this dramatically changes anything for 24, for the simple reason these are places where the BJP already did phenomenally well in 2019.